Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today I wanted to bring you an episode about the games that I'm looking forward to the most at GenCon. Now, we can't go this year. I have concerts basically every day of the weekend, and Katie has other things going on in her life, and we just can't make it. So we're going to just talk about some games. Well, I am going to talk about some games that if I was there, what I would be excited to check out. There are a couple on here that I've already played or I own. I'll mention those briefly at the beginning, but other than that, I think there are 6 other ones that I'm going to talk about. I haven't done any research. I didn't even know some of these games existed until I pulled up the list. So we're going to go in this and learn about these games poorly together. So let's go check them out. All right, so let's take a look at some games that I am excited to check out at Gen Con. If I was going to Gen Con, I'm not. I'm busy. Sorry. But if I was going, these are some games that I would check out. So before we go too much farther into this, I'm going to look at some games that I'm not really going to dive into too much because I own those already. And I'm eventually going to do a video at some point. And those games are Inferno, which is a fantastic worker placement, grid movement, where basically you're putting workers in these worker placement areas. But in order to do that, you have to move a soul down to different levels of hell to be able to take certain actions. Wherever you move the soul to is the action that you're permitted to take. So it's like a twofold worker placement piece. Really fun game. Maybe goes on a little too long, but you can shorten it if you want to by moving Dante down to give him a little bit of a head start. It's a fun game. I recommend it. Theme's probably not for everyone, but it's based on a book. It's not really about hell. So there you go. Mythical Dice, which Inferno's from Grand Gamers Guild. Mythical Dice is from Yellow, or I got it at the Hachette booth at Origins. And this is effectively, I don't know if you ever played the game Skull King, but this is a dice version of that trick-taking game. Dice trick-taking game. So everybody's going to draft some dice out of a bag. The dice are either going to be numbers or they could be like a super-powered dice, like a Griffin Eagle, or Griffin Minotaur, or Mermaid. And then you're basically going to be, whoever's lead it is going to take a die. They're going to roll it. If you have that color die, you have to roll it. Unless you have a special die, you can roll that. Highest number wins, unless you roll a special. Mermaid beats Minotaur. Minotaur beats Griffin. Griffin beats Mermaid. And it's just you're trying to bet on how many tricks you think you're going to get. It starts from 1. It goes up to like 6 or 8, depending on player count. Super fun. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So those are the 2 I want to talk about before I really get diving into this. So let's take a look at this first one. Now, I'm sharing my screen for people who are watching on video. I'm probably going to mess it up because I'm not great at maneuvering around getting back to the list. So if I do that, I apologize. So the first game that I'm super excited about, not really a game, it's expansion to one of the games that we talk about a lot, Sea Salt and Paper. And this is Sea Salt and Paper Extra Pepper. This is more cards for Sea Salt and Paper. We played Sea Salt and Paper a ton of times. We have extra salt. Now I pre-ordered extra pepper. So even though I'm not going to Gen Con, I'm going to get this. This is going to add new cards. I'm not sure what it's going to add to the game. Some of the cards look like they're going sideways now, which is cool. I haven't really looked at it a ton because I just wanted to show up and see what happens. But the pictures are fantastic. It's all origami pictures. Extra salt was amazing. The base game is amazing. So I'm assuming this is going to be no exception, and it's going to be amazing. So the first game that if I was at Gen Con, I would pick this up is Sea Salt and Paper, Extra Pepper. All right, next is a game that I only put on the list because of the title, Ace of Spades. And I like Motorhead. I like Lemmy. So it had to go on the list. And the game's called Ace of Spades. And this is a cooperative shedding poker style game. Again, I haven't looked into these a ton. I don't like to do a ton of research on games if I'm not super interested in buying them, and I'm not going to be there, so I'm not going to get myself excited and just have to deal with FOMO. So this is the only reason I put this on the list. It has a cool theme, it has a cool name, and I like shedding. I like solo or 2-player games that are co-op, which is pretty fun. So yeah, a solo game that I can play in 40-45 minutes that I can also sing Motorhead do, I'm down. So Ace of Spades, that's the second one I'm going to talk about. Third one is actually a 2-player game of a game that I have covered, both the base game and the expansion on the channel, and that's Furnace. This is Furnace Duel. Again, I even know this was a thing. I've done little to no research for GenCon at all because I knew I couldn't go. And again, FOMO. Um, I'm assuming it has similar vibes where you're bidding for cards, trying to run some some factories, produce goods, convert goods, score points, all that kind of thing. But this is made for 2 players because Furnace, you could play it 2 players, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would play it at a higher player count just because I think that's the way that it shines. So yeah, Furnace Duel is another one that I am excited about. All right, what's next? The Game Makers. Now, I know little to nothing about this as well, but I did see it briefly at Origins. And this is a super meta game where you are building games. You can see Camel up there. I saw that they had like some of the Shem Phillips games in there. You're trying to collect resources so you can build games. Now, there's some cool like way that works is like some rotating boards. I didn't look into it a ton, but it has a cool meta theme, which I'm a fan of. It looked really awesome on the table, had a great table presence, and I just thought it's one that I would like to check out. I don't think it's for sale yet. I think it's just a demo from Bezier, but it definitely looks fun and like something that I want to check out. I think I only have like one more, so let's see here. Dose more. Before we go to The Sims, let's talk about a game that I have played, and this is Tabriz. I actually did a written review on this as well. Tabriz is a game about trading in the Middle East. And what you're doing in this game is you have these workers and you're trying to walk around to these different shops and you're basically getting goods. You're converting goods into other things so you can fulfill contracts. All this game is acquiring goods, converting goods to have the proper goods to fulfill these different contracts recipes because you're trying to get points and or skill to be closer to the one that triggers the end of the game. Having the most points is the winner. It's a fun game. I think I wish it did maybe one more thing. It just seemed like it was a little rinse and repeat. I didn't hate it, but I just wish it maybe had one more. And the board is kind of hard to read where all the footprints go and how you connect and all that thing. At least from where I was sitting at the table, might not could just be a me problem. But yeah, so if you want to check it out, I definitely recommend playing it. I don't necessarily know if I would buy it, but it's definitely one to check out to see what how it works and all that stuff. Now, I just saw this other game, which I already spoiled. And if you look at the screen, you've already seen it. And that's The Sims, the board game. Now, again, didn't know this was a thing. It's probably terrible. I'm not going to say that it's not terrible. But I played a ton of Sims on the PlayStation. Love it. So when I saw this, there was a board game. I was like, that's interesting. And now I'm looking at the pictures, and it's got the cool like Sims jewel out there on different locations, player boards, some sliders that you can change colors. I don't know anything about this. Let's read it. Let's see what it says. This is the one that I know the least about, just because it's random, and I just found it before I started recording. Play with life in real life. Okay. Gather up to 5 players as you each craft your own story. Every game's a new story. So a story game, kind of, I guess. That could be fun. It's cheap, $20, so it's not too bad. Again, I don't know anything about it. I like the Sims board video game. I thought this was a cool theme, so I added it to the list. So, yeah, that is what I'm excited about from GenCon. Let me see if I can get back to the list because I'm being a boomer right now. Get back to the list and I'll read them all off again for you so you can hear it. So we have sea salt and pepper, extra pepper. No, sorry, not pepper. Sea salt and paper, extra pepper. Ace of Spades, Furnace Duel, The Game Makers, Inferno, Mythical Dice, The Sims board game, and Tabriz. So if you're at GenCon, know that I'm jealous. Maybe stop and see one of these games. The one that I recommend the highest, the 2 probably would be Sea Salt and Paper, the extra pepper, and Inferno, because Inferno is fantastic, and I love Sea Salt and Paper. So there you go. Yeah, so those are the games that I'm excited. I would be excited to check out at GenCon. All right, so those are my GenCon games. There are 600 games that were on this list. I scrolled through quickly because it's late when I'm recording this, and I don't know. I just haven't been feeling a ton of new games that are coming out, and the ones that I have been feeling, I've already played. So there is that. So I found some games that I thought would be cool, or that just piqued my interest because of the way it looked, or from some other thing in my life that I've done before that made it look interesting. So check these out if you're there. If not, find some other cool games. Tell me some games that you found that you like. Tell me some games that you're excited. I'd love to hear about it. But that's all I got for now. So I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.